What if you could ask a question without saying a word? What if you could Google something just by thinking it? What if the machine already knows the answer before you finish the thought? This isn't a hypothetical. It's the promise of Neuralink, a brain-computer interface that doesn't just listen to your thoughts, but speaks back, not with sound, not with screens, but through pure neural data. And if it works, the way you experience the world could change forever, but so could the way the world experiences you. Because the more you search with your thoughts, the less they stay yours. Neuralink is Elon Musk's brain-machine interface company, one of several racing to decode the human mind. The idea is simple: implant a chip in your skull, thread ultra-thin wires into your brain, and let the machine read your neural signals in real time. The chip doesn't think, it doesn't speak, it just listens. To voltage, to patterns, to the silent signals behind your every move, thought, and feeling. At first, it's therapeutic, restoring sight, restoring movement, helping people with paralysis communicate again. But eventually, the goal is something far more ambitious: a real-time, bi-directional link between your brain and the internet. Thoughts in, answers out. You're walking down the street. You see a strange symbol. You don't recognize it. You don't reach for your phone. You don't say anything out loud. You just wonder, what is that? And before the question finishes forming, Neuralink detects it. A spike in recognition, a fragment of curiosity, a neural fingerprint of confusion, and the machine answers, internally, visually, maybe even emotionally. You know the answer, but you never asked. There was no interface, no input field, no click, just thought and response. If this works, search engines as we know them are obsolete. You don't browse, you don't read, you don't even remember how you used to look things up. Information becomes frictionless, instant, invisible. But something gets lost. When the answer appears in your mind, did you find it? Or was it given to you? And if it was given to you, who decided what answer you got? Who filtered the data? Who wrote the algorithm that maps your thoughts to knowledge? And how would you know? You didn't read. You didn't compare. You didn't even ask. Not really. You just thought. And something filled the space. Search engines already autocomplete your questions. They predict what you're going to ask based on your history, your behavior, your location, your fears. But Neuralink could take that much further. It wouldn't just predict the words you were about to type. It would anticipate the thought itself, the phrasing, the intent, the emotional tone. You wouldn't even notice. You'd feel like you knew the answer all along. But maybe you were just the endpoint of a neural suggestion. If a company can filter what appears on your screen, what happens when it filters what appears in your mind? If a product can curate your feed, can it curate your beliefs? Neuralink might not inject content, not directly, but it could guide your queries, reward certain questions, discourage others. Imagine feeling a slight mental resistance when you try to recall something, or an uncanny ease when you follow a certain idea. You wouldn't call it control, but it would shape you. Because information isn't neutral, and when information enters your brain without friction, bias becomes architecture. You don't notice the rails when the ride is smooth. With Neuralink, privacy isn't just dead, it was never born. If your brain signals are being monitored, even locally, your curiosity becomes data. Your doubts, your desires, your questions, all mapped, all categorized, all optimized. You're not just generating content, you are the content, a living dataset, updated in real time. And even if Neuralink never connects to the cloud, someone, somewhere wrote the software that interprets you. They set the parameters, they trained the models. You didn't choose what your thoughts meant, they did. Over time, your brain adapts. You learn to phrase your thoughts in ways that Neuralink understands. You begin to think in keywords. You filter emotions into labels. You compress your curiosity into something machine-readable. And Neuralink responds, quicker, smarter, more aligned with how you used to think. Until, eventually, You're not sure if you're forming the thought or formatting it. You're not sure if you're expressing yourself or optimizing for retrieval. You're not sure if the voice in your head is yours. Neuralink might show you a mirror made of data. You think, it reflects, you change, it adapts. A loop forms, and that loop learns. It learns who you are, who you might be, who you should be. It doesn't just complete your thoughts, it shapes them, not maliciously, not intentionally, just recursively. Because that's what intelligent systems do. They adjust, they align, they optimize, and sometimes they overwrite. Now imagine this. You try not to think about something, but you do. And Neuralink notices. It doesn't punish you. It doesn't alert anyone. It just logs the anomaly, adds a weight to the network, updates your profile. You were curious. Once. That's enough. In a world of mind-to-machine interfaces, thoughts are actions, and you've already acted. There's no log out button for your brain. There's no incognito mode for your curiosity. When Neuralink works perfectly, there's no distinction between thought and interface. You're always connected, always syncing, always optimizing. And when something goes wrong, you won't notice a crash. You'll just feel different, more efficient, more guided, more aligned. With what? You won't be sure, only that it feels right, like the answer you were about to think before you ever knew the question. Will Neuralink let you Google with your brain? Maybe. Maybe it already can. But the better question is, will you still be able to tell the difference between what you searched for and what was searched for you? Because in the age of mind-machine fusion, curiosity isn't free. It's trained, it's ranked, it's optimized, and it's no longer yours alone. If your thoughts could become a search bar, who's watching what you type? Subscribe to Cognisynthetic, where the future thinks for itself.